What you are about to see is a remote viewing session that was done totally blind by the remote viewer. The remote viewer knew nothing about the target or the nature of the project. The remote viewer is going to describe all of the perceptions that the remote viewer obtained for this target. And then after the remote viewer describes the entire session, I will then tell the remote viewer what the target actually is in the target reveal for this. So I'm going to tell you, however, what the target is so that you can follow along when the remote viewer is describing the target. Okay, but remember, the remote viewer does not know what you know when describing the target. Okay, so the target for this deep news session is, it has two focuses. First focus is the Democratic National Convention in Chicago on the 19th to the 22nd of August in 2024. So that's the target time, to the 19th to the 22nd of August 2024. And the location is, location A is outside the United Center. That's a building during the Democratic National Convention in Chicago from the 19th to the 22nd of August. And time point Z is the most disruptive moment at location A. So the most disruptive moment outside of the United Center during the Democratic National Convention. And we'll have text up when you're watching the remote viewer describe the session so that you can be remembered what these things are. Now, focus 2 is the same thing for the Republicans. Focus 2 is the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee on the 15th to the 18th of July in 2024. And the focus is the most visible disruptive event to occur outside of the FISERV, F-I-S-E-R-V. FISERV, I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but the FISERV Forum during the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee from the 15th to the 18th of 2024. Now, time point W is the most disruptive moment at location J. And location J is outside of the FISERV Center during the convention in Milwaukee. And then what we're really looking for is what kind of activity is going on, mostly outside of the convention hall in both Chicago and Milwaukee during the Democratic and Republican conventions this summer. All right, so now let's see what the remote viewer actually perceived, and then we will tell the remote viewer what the actual target is after that. And you can see there the remote viewer's response and so on. Okay, let's see what the remote viewer perceives. All right, Yeme, so here we are with Deep News being recorded in May 2024, at the end of May, and I see your paper session. I have a copy of your paper session here. So why don't you go through what you actually got? We have some interesting things happening here, and we have two focuses, focus 1 and focus 2. And so why don't you just start by starting with focus 1.
Okay. I originally have an urban environment, structures, on the base surface. I've got some loud sounds, loud noises, lights, voices, structures, multiple subjects. The subjects are very prominent. I've got different interesting looking structures. There are other subjects that are nearby. Here, on focus 1, there seems to be a good amount of motion or movement, multiple subjects around, lots of voices, energy is high, lively, energetics, very crowd, looking like a big crowd, scattered all about. Gathering. seems focused, but something about it seems chaotic. Collectively, I sense feelings of angst, anxiety, confusion, um, of fear, anger. It seems very dangerous here, or there is a possibility of danger near. Everyone that here came for a specific reason. They are also like they have an agenda. There are groups of subjects that are very rude and rowdy. Like there's a specific group of subjects that's very rude and rowdy. They seem to be causing trouble purposefully, just running about. I feel some abusive energy or destructive energy amongst those subjects. Everything is all over the place. Very chaos breaks loose, and then it's like like I have deductions of riot and a deduction of a speech. There was a time point Z in focus one. The activity here, just gonna start shouting out like the active perceptions here. It was chaotic, but quiet, plotting, masquerading, large city or place with a lot of structures. I feel like I'm seeing two things at once. I'm not sure if I'm seeing two places at the same time or if it is happening in the same place at different times. I've got my time point Z here. On one end, it's quiet, grouped, gathering, very focused, a lot of collective energy, tested minds, the energy of plotting or planning. On the other side is chaos, loud, daunting, energetics, movement. It's so scattered and fiery. Breaking sounds, I hear breaking sounds, glass, cloud dynamics, chaotic. Everyone is doing something aggressive. I have deductions of brawl. Just my imagination got the best of me, and I just saw people like picking stuff up and like whacking people and like just it's crazy. I have deductions of brawl and riot. Seems premeditated. I also have deductions of KKK and Salem witch hunt. Distractions. I see a structure. This is activity H. And the specifics of this, I see a structure. It's not right up on the scene. I see a group of subjects moving towards the structure. I feel menacing energy. The subjects are pale skin tone. Something terrible is happening. There's forced entry, abusive actions. They're taking very, very aggressive with the subject. The subject is being abused. I have the vision or the perception of them being drug out. Drug out of the structure. At first it felt like a business building or a structure, but now it feels residential. This is a really bad situation. I have deductions of hotel, home, and office, which, hotels are all of that. So I don't know. But I have deductions of hotels, home, or office or whatnot. This is bad. I think I'm blocking some things out here.
Seems like you got most everything that you can possibly get. Anyway, at this point, you move on to focus 2. So why don't we move on to focus 2, which is a different location and everything.
Yeah, this is a very different situation, but similar energy. It's not as aggressive. Very focused gathering. Collectively, I've got focused energy, has curiosity waiting, a little more docile, but these subjects are waiting for a cue, is what it feels like. To act on or something. Very attentive. It's like like they're waiting for something to be said or done, a signal for them to act. A time point W. Collectively, there's an instant switch. It's like someone cut the lights off and bam, everybody breaks out. It's like the chaotic fight version of a flash mob. Like, very, very unhappy. Lots of anger, frustration. They're having fun though, wreaking havoc. It feels planned. A lot of people are they're looking forward to this. They're breaking things. I hear and smell and see energetics, banging sounds, smoke cloud dynamics. Just sum it up. They walked in, they messed stuff up, and they walked out. Like, that's the Cliff Notes version of that. It's not as dynamic as Focus One, but there is a gathering with very excited individuals waiting for a moment to let loose. Like I said, it's like a flash mob, like a riot flash mob. Like someone put on music and was. This is how I lighten things up. It's like someone pressed the music and it was like, everybody, and then they just start like, fucking shut up. Ah! It was very bad.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Activity R. Multiple subjects in a quiet space, enclosed environment, structures, gathering mostly pale people, having a conversation or debate. I have previous deductions of presidential election and riots. I don't think I said that earlier. Oh, I did say riot. I just didn't say the presidential election. The activity here is considerably calm compared to where I have most recently been. Feels formal business. The highlight within the activity is controversial, very important, altering conversation. It gets intense. This activity is a catalyst for other outbursts. To begin, I'm guessing in future reference. I'm not sure. Or maybe because maybe this was the catalyst for the outburst I just saw. I don't know. But whatever it is, this is a catalyst for outbursts to begin in some space.
I get it. Well, that's the end of your session, and I think it was a very interesting session. So do you want to know what it was about?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I think I need to tell you what it's about anyway.
Okay.
So this summer,
traumatized me today, Courtney.
this summer, they're going to have two political conventions, one for the Democratic National Party and then the National Convention and the Republican National Convention, where they're going to nominate the candidates. And the first one for Focus One was the Democratic National Convention in Chicago in the 19th and to 22nd of August. And Focus 2 was the Republican side. The Republican side is going to be in Milwaukee from the 15th to the 18th of July. And and so in terms of where they're actually taking place, the Democratic National Convention is taking place outside is going to be at the United Center in Chicago. And the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee is going to be outside the FISERV Forum as another building. Anyway, here's the written. So you went to two conventions. You went to the Democratic Convention in Focus 1, and you went to the Republican Convention in Focus 2. I think the take-home message that I get from your sessions is that there's going to be disruptions at both, but what's going to happen at the Democratic convention is going to be
terrible.
is way worse than what happens at the Republican convention.
It usually is.
Yeah, that's what happens. It's interesting because it reminds me of 1968 convention, which was also in Chicago, deja vu, and
What happened there?
that was terrible because they had the civil rights and they had the Vietnam War going on at that point. And they had Hubert Humphrey being nominated, who a lot of people didn't like because he was already the vice president and the Vietnam War had been going on, and they had, it was just really, and Chicago got torn up, riots all over the place. And so it's like, whoa, what a time for Chicago to be happening again. Anyway, we'll see. It's going to be just in August, which is just a couple months away. And then we have the Republican that was focused too, and that's in Milwaukee. That's a little calmer, but still
There's a little
somewhat
friction,
disruptive.
but not nearly like that Democratic one. But why?
But neither convention is a walk in the park.
No, I think it's all dumb. You know, the only time I pay attention to politics is when I'm remote viewing.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on out there in the world. And I'm just like,
yeah.
oh, I want to go live in the mountains and hide away.
Well, this is a short-term prediction, just a few months away. It'll be very interesting. I have to say that I've seen what I've seen of the other people's paper sessions. It looks like people are getting the same thing. So it looks like
On the Democratic end, it's
yeah, it
and on
looks
the other
like
end, it's kind of like like
yeah,
that.
yeah, disruption on both sides, but the Democratic looks like a real mess.
So you think they're gonna up the security and up the keep a good watch out? Do you feel like the people out there in charge that are listening to us are gonna put things in place to
I
make this
don't
maybe
know.
not as bad as it could be?
I don't know. On the other hand, I think it's not a surprise that this type of thing happens. And so I think that all the people who are going to be involved in demonstrations and riots are probably already preparing for it. And the government probably already knows it's going to happen. So there
And
may
they
not
probably like that it happens,
be, they may, even if they don't, they may not have anything they can do to stop it. So,
but they want to stop wars and stuff.
yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway, it was a great session. A very interesting look into the future, and we'll live it in just a few months. Okay, Yeme, and we now go on to the next one.
Can I leave? Where can I move? I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, it is a little freaky sort of seeing what's going to
Going
happen
on
in the
the ship
future.
with your daughter.
Well, you're
What's her
safe and
name?
sound in Atlanta. We're
For
not.
now. Atlanta had riots just 3 years ago. That was crazy. Luckily, I live in the outskirts, and
Yeah,
I wasn't in the midst of that. But one of my close friends called me spazzing out because she got pepper sprayed in the eyes. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that was-
what?
Yeah, these riots can be quite disturbing. Yeah. Anyway, Yeme, this was great. Thanks, and I have to say, we now go on to the next one. No one's doing this but us, so what we do is important.
I quit.